Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's conversation, Study in Thailand, a gateway to Asia's creative and innovation economy. The first few things that come to my mind when I think about Thailand and Bangkok is obviously the culture and going for a holiday, but I think there is so much more to offer. And today I'm really grateful to be joined by Dr. Rodrigo, who is based out of Bangkok University, and she's going to be our guest today to tell us more about the city, her journey, and of course, a study destination for Indian and Asian students. Dr. Rodrigo, I'm just going to begin with just trying to understand if you would be able to tell us what brought you to Thailand and what inspired you to come out there and build your journey here, specifically with Bangkok University. And I'm saying that because a lot of times we have this preconceived usual suspects of the bigger countries. But I think there is so much more in the diverse era of education that we'd love to know what really inspired you.
Hi, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I came to Thailand planning to stay 2 years, and that was nearly a decade ago. So clearly that plan failed in the best possible way. So my journey in higher education teaching, it's been already pretty long, actually. I have been teaching in higher education for 20 years now. I'm originally from the Philippines, so I started teaching in the Philippines for just a few years. And then I spent a few years in Vietnam, particularly Ho Chi Minh City, and then later in Malaysia. And every country taught me something different. It's not just about education, but it's all about the people. And it's all about how differently learning can look depending on where you are. So the opportunity to Thailand came up. And so I thought, why not? One more adventure. And I honestly expected it to be a chapter of perhaps 2 to 3 years. But, that was like almost 10 years ago. And I'm still here now. So the question is, what really made me stay? Yeah. More than anything, it's actually about the people. But specifically at Bangkok University, where I'm currently teaching, it's completely normal to walk into a classroom and have students from 20 to 30 different countries in one room. And when that many perspectives meet, conversations just become richer. And with that kind of classroom environment, you cannot just teach from the textbook. And especially in my current role as a chairperson of the International General Education Program, I've had the freedom to design courses to really get the students out of the classroom. Like they're working with real organizations, with our industry partners. They get to solve real problems and sometimes failing a little, but that's part of it. That's part of the journey. Yeah. So what really made me stay? It is that combination, the diversity of the students, not just in my university, and the chance to teach the way I believe teaching should be done. So it's been 10 years and I'm still here. And perhaps I would still continue to live here. How many years? That I don't know. So that's what made me stay. And there's many other things also.
No, I really think it's beautiful. I think, you've hit it on the nail. It's people who make a difference. And, when you hear talk about diverse backgrounds and you've had so much exposure working all across Asia, I think it's really important and relevant for us within the education landscape to understand really what is the driving force. I mean, you've said you've spent about 2 decades in higher education and about a decade at university. I'm sure you've seen a shift in the mindset of students or in the mindset of, I'd say, parents and students when they talk about a study destination in Asia. And in your view, what do you think is the driving shift and why is there such an increase of the student diversity, the portfolio of students who are going to Bangkok? I mean, it's great that is happening. I'm really pleased to hear that. But what is the driving force behind this?
I think the biggest shift is in what students are looking for. These days with globalization and traveling becomes easy, migration, traveling to Bangkok, like, how high the number of tourists we have here yearly. But I really think that when it comes to selecting which university to go to, the biggest shift is in what students are looking for. Students today, they don't just want a degree. I think they want more of an experience. And they want a degree that connect to real career. And you know that Thailand offers that balance in a way few places do. So first, there's a practical side. Right? Studying here cost a fraction of what it does in many other Western countries. And the quality of life here is genuinely high. So I have been here 10 years and I do love the life's quality here. Our students here who are coming from overseas, they live well here safely and comfortably. And another is the location. Thailand sits right in the middle of Southeast Asia, which is obviously startups. We have tourism, hospitality, media, design, and technology, and all of these are all growing side by side, often within a few train stops of each other, actually. So because of the exposure the students get, not only in my university, but obviously other universities as well, students get to encounter, to experience these industries.
So one of the things that I think we'd be keen to understand is what is really driving that shift. You've been in the higher education sector for about 2 decades and in Bangkok for about a decade here. And you mentioned previously about the diversity of students and people coming in from many nationalities. And I think the volume's increasing as well. When we look at some of the stats and data here back home in India, we look at the interest. What is really driving that shift? What is the point where people are aspiring to go to some of the Asian countries? And I'm asking you for Asian countries because of the varied experience, intensive experience you've had in multiple countries.
I think the biggest shift is in what students are looking for. Today, students don't just want a degree, they want an experience. And obviously, Thailand and Bangkok specifically can, offers this wide arrays of experiences, whether it's hospitality, tourism, and many more. They want a degree to connect to a real career. I think that's the shift. And Thailand offers a balance. And that's why I've been here for 10 years already. And do I want to leave? No, that's not happening anytime soon. Students here live well, safely and comfortably. Second is the location. Thailand sits right in the middle of Southeast Asia, which is one of the fastest growing economic regions in the world. And if you're a young person starting a career, being close to that growth really matters. But also there's another something that's harder to measure, being here for 10 years, I have watched students arrive quite dependent, family, routine, and within just a few semesters, now they're learning to navigate a new city, a new culture, and friendships across a dozen nationalities. So that itself is very inviting. And so that's why, aside from just coming here as tourists, we have a lot of students, actually, European students, American students, and other parts of Asia who are now enrolled in our university. It's totally diverse. In fact, we have more than 70 nationalities here now. So having seen all of these, over the years, seeing students learning to navigate a new city, make friends, students from different parts of the globe, seeing them gaining that independence, that adaptability. Sometimes what happens outside of the classroom is just quality got Thailand noticed. But I think, and I truly believe that it is the opportunity and experience that makes students stay and choose to study here.
I think that's amazing. And having been on this side of, the table where I've had experience, speak and connect with multiple organizations as well. That's an absolute privilege. We look at what organizations are looking for. What are the skill sets they want in the generation or the new generation? How do they become aligned to the global world, the global workforce for that matter? And we really often are hearing the importance of adaptability, creativity, collaboration, having an entrepreneur mindset, problem solving. All things are so much more important than just the curriculum of a university or the subject that you're studying. From your perspective, what are the most important skills students need to thrive in today's very rapidly changing world? Because a lot of times I tell my team members, this is the information, but it's good for only today. Can't guarantee.
Okay, actually, all of the skills that you mentioned, those are very important. But if I could pick only one ability to teach today, it might not be relevant anymore in 5 years' time. And that is not a weakness of education, that's just reality, So the real skill is learning how to keep learning. I think that's the most important skill. The existence of AI is a perfect example. AI did not exist in the past few years. When I started teaching in Thailand, there was no AI. It arrived how many years ago only? And now it's part of everyday work. And I'm sure students are using it in their everyday lives. So if there's a skill that is very important, I think the graduates who will thrive aren't the ones who fear to use these tools or the ones who rely on them blindly, but they're the ones who learn to use them well while bringing what AI can't, like judgment, creativity, and the human touch. And that human side is exactly what employers, like our industry partners, keep asking us about, like questions like, can this graduate actually communicate clearly? Especially when they're working with a very diverse workspace, right? Can they solve problems they've never seen before? Can they work in a team with people who think differently? And so that's why I always tell my students, you get your degree and your degree gets you the interview, but your people skills will get you the job, and it's your attitude that will likely get you promoted. And you've also mentioned about entrepreneurial mindset. Bangkok University is actually promoting. We are an innovative and entrepreneurial university. This is a very important skill as well. It's not that everybody has to like start a company. That's not what it means, but it's all about being curious, spotting opportunities and seeing a problem and thinking maybe I could fix this, than they're waiting for someone to do so. But the good thing is all of these are learnable skills, through practice, through projects, through being pushed outside of their comfort zone again and again. And that is why the environment a student chooses matters so much. And that's what we're trying to do here at Bangkok University.
So, Dr. Rodrigo, I just have another question. When you were explaining, you spoke about projects and mindset, and how students are getting put. Intentionally, what is the university doing when you are interacting with such students? Are all the skill sets that you beautifully articulated a minute back are part of the curriculum? Are they things which students are learning as an experiential learning phase? Or, how is it that it is embedded in their learning, the future skills that we're talking about? How do you embed it in this, in the curriculum how are people, is it conversational? Is it practical? They're life skills. You cannot have checkbox. You and I both will agree. I think we cannot have a checkbox, and everybody will perceive them very differently. But what is the university about this?
We are a practical university. And so because we have a lot of industry partners, and our industry partners, some of them collaborate with us on projects that really involve students. So we have our specific curriculum, but if the need arises, we somehow tailor our assessment based on the need of the industry or the organization that we are collaborating with. So for example, I am the chair of the International General Education Program, and the courses, we build courses around projects, and we're just not using all of the old school exams and quiz-based types of assessments. So in our courses, students work in teams, usually multicultural teams, because that's what our classrooms look like. And when they're working in teams, obviously they have to think creatively, they have to solve real problems, and they're dealing with case studies, not from textbook, but live challenges. So a specific example is our students have developed business ideas from scratch. They built sustainability projects, and they work directly with industry partners, including activities with major organizations like, for example, Indorama Ventures, which is one of Thailand's global companies, and Bangkok Insurance and others. So whatever is the need of the organization that we're collaborating with, we embed that. And we tailor our assessments so that students get practical experience. And they're also being assessed, not just by us, the instructors or the lecturers, but they're being assessed by the industry partners themselves. So then during the final week of the semester, they get to present it to industry partners, like real professionals, rather than just their lecturer. And so, if that is the experience they get every semester, the stakes feel real. And so the learning is real because they're not just assessed by us, but they're assessed by people from the industry. And I'll be honest, sometimes the projects don't go perfectly. A pitch falls flat, a prototype fails, a team struggles, but that's just part of the design. Not a problem because that's exactly how working life works. And it's far better to learn to recover inside a supportive environment than to face it for the first time in their job. So that's what we have been doing here. And we have been closely working with industry partners because we do need their input. What are the skills that are required? And how can we actually tailor our courses and our assessment that will help students develop the skills over time and will make them employable? And aside from that, the university's industry connections run deep. So we have students who learn directly from professionals through guest speakers, through internships, projects, and mentoring. And we also have a lot of university partners globally. So if we have students who even think of who want an even wider horizon, we have exchange opportunities in dual programs with partner universities around the globe. So the result, I think, is our graduates, they don't just leave with knowledge, they leave with stories. That's the most important part. When they complete their degree, they could say, I built this, I pitched that, I worked with this company. And these are way more believable and more, I would say, interesting, rather than just claiming I have a very strong team player skills. How are they supposed to prove it? So when they complete their degree and come to a job interview, they could tell all of their stories because learning is experiential. And they're just not sitting in the lecture room. So that's what we do here.
That's so beautiful. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. And I think to be able to witness that is very special. When you see your students succeed, I don't think there can be anything more, which gives you more contentment and gratifying. So on that note, when you speak about experiential and you talk about how industries evolved and you're setting your curriculum, you're supporting people and their case studies, and also the important thing is, you're right, it's not theoretical, but practically people have built something, and resilience is very important. So everything is not going to be perfect in day one. Face the challenges here than in the real life. In your journey, where you witness this closely, hands-on, at a distance, whatever way, what have you found to be very transformational? Have you ever seen a student journey which for you was, I'm sure every student transforms, I'm not even taking that away, but any one such story that you'd like to share with us where there's been a transformation completely during their time at your university? And what changes do you see in them by the time they're graduates or young adults, if I may say so?
That's actually my favorite question. Because honestly, this is why I'm still in this profession after 20 years. I always tell people I don't really teach subjects, I teach people. And I think of students who, in their first week, when they come to my class, they wouldn't even volunteer to say their own name in class. Genuinely, they're like eyes down, they're hoping not to be noticed. And then a few semesters later, I'm watching them, those same students confidently pitching a business idea to a panel, leading a team of classmates from different countries, or even speaking on stage in front of hundreds of people. Because we do have a lot of competitions here that really have massive audience. That change never gets old, never in my 20 years experience. And here's the thing, the biggest transformation is almost never academic. Of course, they learn the content, but the real change is confidence. Somewhere along the way, through the project that worked, or even the one that failed and they survived, they start believing in themselves. And so by graduation, they're more independent, they're more resilient, they're remarkably comfortable working across cultures, which I believe in today's world, the most valuable skill of all. So some of them, they arrive as teenagers who have never been away from home or very dependent with their parents, but they leave as young professionals and they're ready to work anywhere in the world. I think that is something that never changes and never gets old. And that is the most fulfilling part of being an educator. Seeing students slowly gaining confidence and slowly believing in themselves and conquering what they would want to conquer. So yeah.
That's, that really aligns with a lot of the work that that IC3 does as well, where we move away from just the competition of academics and focus on the competence of a student or the individual. It's so imperative are able to do that and support the students in that journey. I've really enjoyed this conversation with you, and I wish we could continue this now, but I'm sure we'll do many more conversations like this, because people would love to know a lot more of what is happening, not just at Bangkok University, but your perspective about Asia as a study destination. But as we just wrap up, for the students from India, and I'm saying that only because I'm based out of India, who are intending to apply to Bangkok University or one of the other Asian universities in the segment, is there any advice, or is there anything that you'd like to share with them? And what is it that they should be mindful of when they are making this decision? And what would you hope that every prospective student takes away from today's conversation? So while they're applying, what is it that they should keep? And something that, like you beautifully said, it's not always academics. It's about the students. I'd love to hear from you as a takeaway for our audience.
Sure. Okay. My honest advice is this: don't just ask where you will get a degree. Ask where you will grow as a person. Because, university is only 3 or 4 years of your life. But the experiences you will have there will shape the next 20 or 30. So specifically for students coming from India, obviously Thailand has not some, but a lot of very practical advantages. You're just a few hours away from home, close enough that family is reachable, but far enough that you will truly grow. The cost here is reasonable compared to Western destinations, and our international programs are taught fully in English. And at Bangkok University specifically, you won't be a face in a crowd. You will join classrooms with students from around the world. You will learn from faculty with real industry and international experience, and graduate with practical exposure, projects, internships, industry connections, not just a certificate. And we have also a growing community of Indian students here. And what I hear from them most often is how quickly Thailand started to feel like home. So do your research, talk to current students, ask hard questions of every university that you would consider, including us. But keep an open mind, because who knows? And just like me, you might just come here thinking it's just a few years or a short chapter of your life, and discover it's actually the place where your story really begins. So yeah, that's my honest advice.
So the next question I'd like to ask you is, we often hear employers talking about the importance of adaptability, creativity, collaboration, entrepreneurial skills, problem-solving skills, and the mindset thereon. From your perspective, what are the important skills students need to thrive in today's rapidly changing world?
Those skills that you've mentioned, those are really important skills. But if I could only pick one, it would be adaptability. The world is changing so fast, and that some of what we teach today will look quite different, or might be less relevant in 5 years' time. And that is not a weakness of education, it's just reality. So the real skill is really learning how to keep learning. AI is a specific or perfect example for this. This tool did not exist a few years back, but are now part of everyday work. And I'm sure, 100% sure, our students use them every day. In fact, we create some policies about the use of AI in the classroom. So the graduates who will thrive aren't the ones who fear to use these tools, or the ones who rely on them blindly, but they're the ones who learn to use them while bringing what AI can: judgment, creativity, and the human touch. And the human side is exactly what employers are asking us about, especially our partner industries. These places where our students take their internship. The common questions they ask is including, can this graduate or can this student communicate clearly? Can they solve problems they haven't seen before? Can they work in a team with people who think differently? So I always tell my students, your degree gets you the interview, but your people skills get you the job. And often your attitude gets you promoted. Another thing to add on is the entrepreneurial mindset. And that doesn't mean everyone should start a company. It's being curious, spotting opportunities and seeing a problem and thinking, maybe I could fix that instead of waiting for someone else to. The good thing is all of these are learnable through practice, through projects, through being pushed out of your comfort zone again and again. And that is why choosing the environment matters. The classroom, university, choosing the class environment matters so much. And that's actually what we're trying to do here at Bangkok University.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. We've really enjoyed this conversation. We look forward to welcoming you back home here in Mumbai, where we are at the IC3 conference, the 10th IC3 conference next month. And we will stay connected and continue this dialogue.
Sure, that would be great. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me.